Hello, everyone. Good evening to you all, and Happy New Year as well. Welcome to our first session of Azure Happy Hours for this year. Today, and taking it ahead, we have Vivek with us. Hey, hi, Vivek. How are you?
Hey Pat, Happy New Year to you too, and Happy New Year to viewers. I'm Vivek, I'm Senior Cloud Advocate from Microsoft. So
Yep.
fun to be back on stream again, and this is our first stream, I believe,
Yep.
for this year. So
Yep.
super excited. So let's go through the code of conduct part.
Yeah. Before we begin, yes,
Yeah,
please. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together. So please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in a way you all engage. Obviously, we do encourage you all to participate, to ask questions. Please drop all your questions in the comment section. Over to Vivek to begin the session.
thank you, Pat. Thank you very much. And today we have a special guest on Azure Happy Hour, and
Okay, I
his
see
name
someone at the
is
backstage.
yes, it's Tauqeer,
Hey, hi Tauqeer.
and Tauqeer
Hi,
is
Parth.
like Tauqeer is like behind me, like from last like 2 months. Like I want to talk on code spaces on Azure
Exactly.
Happy Hour. Can you can we do that? So I say I don't have dates. I don't have dates, and I finally I figured out some date and like let's do it. So thank
Oh,
you for following it up, and thank you for being here today. And oh yeah, let me introduce you. Uh, very informally, right? Basically, Tauqeer is a VS Code insider. I'm actually reading through your LinkedIn profile, which is very
absolutely working
interesting.
out.
It's very
It works.
interesting because you're a VS Code insider program. I didn't know about that. I only know that you were a Gold Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. But yeah, you're VS Code insider. That is the reason why you are so much into code spaces, right? That's the most important thing. And I didn't get that. So now I get it. So very good. And Angel Hack Student Ambassador. You have done amazing stuff. I know that you deliver a lot of talks in your college. I've seen you
Yeah.
delivering talks in your college. So awesome, awesome, Tauqeer. Thank you for being on the show. And let's get started. Go ahead. If you want to introduce yourself formally, please go ahead
Yeah,
and
sure.
introduce yourself
Uh,
formally.
First of all, thanking Parth and Vivek for inviting me for this Microsoft reactor. As you happy are. Like I've been waiting for this thing. Like presenting on the stage of Microsoft is an amazing journey. So yeah, like so we are here for like bumping a bit to code spaces. So I'm sharing my screen itself. So yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
So basically, what we're going to do today is understand code spaces. In a better way because there are a bunch of things, right? Bit of why it is required and how exactly it has transformed developer ecosystem, right? And how it has helped the developer ecosystem now, and developers love it, obviously. And we just want to make sure that everybody understands how exactly to use this. And there are certain advanced level things as well, like security and port forwarding stuff and other things which we are going to talk about. That's anyways is part of our discussion. So I'm going to bring your screen, Takir.
yeah.
So
Okay,
maybe
Vivek, over
you
to you,
want to.
folks.
Okay, thank you, Pat,
Yep.
for getting
Sure.
it started.
Thank you, Parth. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Thank you. Sir. So
So
I'm
I think
having
you
my
need to.
I'm having about my stage. Okay. Uh, wait, wait. Just putting up. Yeah, good.
Cool.
My screen is probably visible. Sure.
Yes, yes, I can see your screen.
Absolutely. The GitHub code spaces. We all have been aware of like so. Like I would like to ask from yourself, like what do you think about the code as well as plus places, not code
that's
spaces.
a that's a good one. I don't know. And the code is to simplify, to build app, and you build a business logic, and it solves certain problems, and it fast solves
Hmm.
certain problems while you just deploy it and run it, and customers are running it and running some transactions, right? It does some transactions, and when you run it in transaction, it has some kind of transaction, and a lot of user base on that. I call it production.
Corporate.
And yeah, and then spaces is obviously your own isolation, right? It's kind of your own space, and
Of
it's your
course.
own what do you call it? It's your own network or a space or a
Your
place where
space.
I'm sitting
Exactly.
right now. It's your own room.
Exactly. This is my room. That's your room. So no can everyone is prohibited to it. So yeah, in my words, I'll say that code spaces typically says a lot from its word itself, like the space where we are coding. Yeah, code spaces. So we have got the thing from the GitHub itself. The code spaces is typically why what we say. Uh, an online Visual Studio Code editor. Typically, it is because we are getting the most of the features from code spaces to here, like Visual Studio Code to here itself. If you remember, like I had been presenting on the GitHub.dev itself in the like in the month of April. It was a MSD day. So there were some limitations, like we didn't have any sort of isolation, we didn't have any sort of terminal. As a developer, you need it. Of course, you need it because you have some sort of command to put in. You have some take on the things into the development through the terminal. So GitHub.dev doesn't work so far. And actually, it works from any of the devices. So provides a handy development, a lot of features. Since you are getting on the like what do you say handy, it is saving your steps. Since it's saving your steps, typically it's saving your time. Let us consider like if you are bunching up or producing a code for the Node.js thing or back, it's a backend. So what I shall be doing is directly get into github.com. I am having a code spaces, set up a repository, set up my root file, and boom, we are done with my Node.js thing. It depends upon my skill how I'm developing my project, but yeah, uh, it's curate me on the path of saving the time.
Got it.
So
So to
yeah,
understand this much better, right? So I mean, why code spaces, right? I know, just for history purpose, right? How developer used to develop before, and there was no code space. There was nothing. I had the code, and I used to push the code to some repository, which is GitHub repository, and within that GitHub repository, if at all a new developer comes in within the team, or you're developing on different services, and might not be the same service, right? You might have different service also. To have a developer environment on your local machine, you need to configure your local machine, which is not like a virtual box, right? In a world of
yeah,
virtual box, what happens is there is a virtual box, you go and delete those virtual box, and you recreate those virtual box. If you feel like, if this is not really good, then you go ahead and recreate a virtual box. But in a real world scenario, developers used to actually install all the configuration. Like I used to install Python, and if I'm working on Node.js and I used to install Node.js, I'm working on Go, I'm installing Go, and everything
uh,
on my local environment, and it is obviously not the latest always, right? I have to upgrade it sometimes. Some of these things, I install will not be the latest ones after 6 months. So basically I have to
uh,
upgrade those things, and all of those things are there. And how do I make sure that whatever I'm coding and my configurations are there, the same configurations are there in the code, that in the repository, so that anyone who picks up the code can also
hmm,
have a similar set of configurations and run their code. And also I could literally use this configurations on my different devices. Like if I want to use it on different devices, I might go back and use it in my iPad, I can go back and use it in
exactly.
my mobile phone and all those places, right? So that's what it core space, it's so powerful, where you
Yeah.
can go and create these configurations, use the dev containers and set up this whole thing, and then make use of any of these things. And as a developer, you don't have to be worried on setting this all these configurations, right? I'm thinking this is what exactly Codespaces
uh,
means. So yes, Tauqeer,
very very
go ahead.
like yeah. Like as you just mentioned, one of the like old aspect, I got me remember of my like the time it was there wasn't any code space like what we used to do. It doesn't mean I'm very very old person. I'm still a developer and still a student. I'm a third
I
year.
am I just graduated like two
Uh,
months back.
2 months back. Okay, I'm still studying. I'm in my third year. So the time there was no code space. Like what we used to like for developing any one stack or develop project. We had some node modules. So we didn't push any node modules, but yeah, it they used to be passed using .json file, which contains our name or save the name of all the packages to be installed. So when another person like clone it, fork it into the local system, they just run the command npmi and all the packages related to it or required for it, the product to be set up or get installed into it. So this is how like the GitHub like working as a middleman and providing surface to it. But yeah, nowadays like we have code spaces that people start working on it. Like I have one of them. So what do we like? We all the developer get on one stage. We get the link of it, and yeah, we directly like create the pull request, just edit it, and yeah. And in fact, we got the development also. Like if we want to run it on a local server, we do want to forward our ports, the port forwarding it's also available. So we can just not to clone it over a local system and we can run it over the online system. And that's where like code spaces hit up. Cool. This is where like it typically saves the time, no? If you are
Yep.
handy and it's really saving your time.
I
And
mean,
note
it
over here.
saves a lot of time if you're not doing those installations on your own. There's a lot of
Exactly.
time debugging goes into picture. Like sometimes you install something and it doesn't work. Uh,
Ah,
you go into debugging and it's very difficult to remove those installations, right, on your local
like
systems.
sometimes it becomes some night where like yeah, like morning has come up and you have to do work on it. Yeah.
True.
So yeah. For the student, if you are like aware of it. Like for the students thing, GitHub code spaces are free to avail. Okay, free to avail. They just have to get the student developer pack. Okay, they just have to get the student developer pack, and they will be getting the code spaces for free. Uh, but for the like the working professional, they have to pay for it. Cool. So typically, I do want to curate the sense of production. Like what do like the time we use the word production now, we should be getting like why production, what production. Otherwise, it will be a vague.
Yep.
So yeah, so developing the code in the sense in the real time. Okay. We are having the code, we are having the code bases, we are having the people. People are also included in the production because of course they are developers and collection developers are also in the set of production. So we have the developers and we have curating a mind towards a particular thing like hey this should be done, this should be done, and we have the surface, we have the code editor, and we have the packages, which packages to be installed or which line to be like written into this code, or what line to be removed, or what feature to be embedded into this code. So this brings out the sense of production onto the stage. And of course, like we have been talking about the GitHub code spaces, so of course it's do bring out the sense of production. So we have our code, we have the code spaces providing you the space to code. So this is simply we are decoding, and typically GitHub doesn't officially say all these things, but yeah, I'm saying it on their behalf. So yeah,
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I
got it.
think that's how it is. So basically, you have this setup ready for yourself, and you are putting all the things in the code space, the condev containers where you have list of all the things which is there,
Hmm,
and then you're taking that and deploying it there, and it's available for you to use it. And once it is running, it's running for you, right? So
exactly, one word.
you can make changes later. You can just edit those JSON file and make changes to
Exactly.
it. So all of those things. So let's go ahead. Are you showing me a demo now,
Yeah,
or how is it? Like
I
you?
was about to say like I was about to show something like how in the real world like how a GitHub code spaces looks like. We have been
Perfect.
talking, us. You must be aware like how does it looks like. So cool. Yeah, so that's normal GitHub. You have I have my repository working node because I named it as working node because it's based on Node.js. Uh, Typically, what I shall be doing, I'll keep my code, open a new tab.
So can you just go back a little bit? Uh,
Yeah,
so, so I have a repository, and within that repository, you can go and either create a code space, or you can look into, like, you
uh,
already have a code space
yeah,
created
yeah,
for this.
yeah. I have my
So
point to put over here. Yeah, like you may continue, like you want to say something. I shall be telling
no,
it
no,
later.
I'm just going through the steps. Basically, I have a
Okay.
repository, and I'll just click on that code and go to the code spaces.
Yeah,
And once
this
I
is the
go to the code space, yeah, I'll either create one, or it will be available because you already created one, right? So just go to that link, and you can get the code spaces up and running for you.
Hmm.
Yep.
So Vivek,
Okay.
you must be thinking like here I how I got all these codes here I got now all
Yeah.
these codes. So you must be thinking like hey talking like from where you got all these things. So I have pushed all these things earlier. Like I had been working on a project on a simple project. So where did you got from my local system? Okay, that was my
Okay.
project. If I say so from here,
Can
it
you
is
just
visible.
increase the font? No, we can't see it.
Wait, cool.
Here
So
also you
it's my
need to increase the font. Have a little bit of
uh,
font increase. Just zoom in.
so like.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's good.
Cool.
This is good.
So, this my Visual Studio Code, simple, basic Express template, which I have got from the internet. Everyone got from the
Uh-huh.
internet, so it's just a copy paste thing. And what does it do? I have my code, which is says like if you hit the get request on a root thing, you'll get the hello world and all and all. So you must be thinking like it can work on my local system, no? So, but typically it will work on my uh, remote server also. So since we are working on the remote server, so I shall be closing it out and going back to my total working thing. This is my remote thing. This is the GitHub code spaces, the actual code spaces. You
Correct.
must be feel like it's the actual thing. You can just feel it. You feel the
Yeah.
rhythm of it. Just totally, and you have the name of it. Cool. So this is how you typically set up a thing. You just what you do, just basically push the cursor over your remote. We typically you name it as origin over your repository typically means, and you click a button and you get your code spaces. Boom. If you are having code spaces, you will get an option. If not, then you have to avail it.
Got it.
Yeah, got it. Uh, cool.
So you have so you just go and create that one. This is a empty code space, no? There is nothing you've configured anything as of now. It's
As of
just
now,
a okay.
it's configured. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally, I'll say to be honest, totally, I'll not say it's totally is on null level. It had my some of the code, but yeah, if you were want to set up from the scratch, like if you wanted to ask like from the scratch, so what you can do directly, directly go to
Mm-hmm.
the code space and just create one. Directly go to the code spaces and create one from the site. Like actually, it's you have to go into the sites, new one. Okay,
Okay. New code.
it will
Got
get
it.
from the root, the slash thing. From the root, the
Mm-hmm.
slash. You will get from here. Nothing much to worry of. Yeah, I was talking about default environment variable.
Hmm.
Like like what do you think? What does these collection of words says? Default, environment, and variable. All these words like typically different from each other, but yeah, but it combines the total word.
These are environment variables. So basically, usually the environments which are required when you build an environment, you usually set up those things. Like for example, Python version,
Huh.
which version you're using, and Node.js version and Java version probably, which version you're using. These are all where environment variables, right? Maybe you'll set up those environment variables before running your code. Uh, that's what I've been using it previously as well. So yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you are way too much correct. Actually, we are way too much correct. Like you have been using a command named where Java. What Java? They tells you the version. Like where Java, like tells you like where the Java is installed in your system, and what Java will tell you like which Java version you are using. Indeed, like you must be using like dash version, but yeah, in Linux or a Unix system, Unix, you we typically use that thing because everyone doesn't have dash version thing. So here I have attached an example like echo the root home. So like home is a default environment variable. It's just a container. It acts as a container. It tells like to the system like Tauqeer are asking something from your system. Kernel is asking like hey Tauqeer like this is a thing, and kernel is demanding this thing from you. So what thing is being demanded? The home, and home contains which thing? The path, the address, home/Tauqeer Ahmad. It happens in the structure of like Linux system. So Windows user might be having different thing, but in the Linux it happens the same. But in the code spaces, it typically have the same meaning, or yeah, it basically and have a different collection of keywords. Let me tell you like what are those keywords. If I do like I don't remember on my mouth, but I shall be telling you like default one variable. You type on the GitHub code spaces. Okay, like GitHub
Hmm.
code spaces have bunches of code environment variable, and they're typically case sensitive. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm
Uh,
I'm just sharing the link as well for the audience, just to go through that.
mhm. Okay, so
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah,
So can you just increase the font size like to
yeah.
150 so that we can see? Yeah.
Now let's
So
find now.
what is the use of these environment variables?
Exactly. It has been listed on like their website, like what you all can do from all these things. Let us suppose uh, you write. I do want you to know the name of my code space. Code space give their name on a like a random basis. Okay. It's written on the link itself, but it's not cleared. It's not like a human readable form, like too much human readable. It is there, but not too much human readable. So let me tell you like how you can use it. I get to my terminal. Okay, this is my terminal. Okay, this is what
Yeah,
like Codespace is famous for.
got it.
ZSH, ZSH is one of my favorite. I type echo. I type dollar sign. Oh, have you got something? What does
Yeah,
this
yeah.
say? It says
So
like
this is typically your domain name, which is there on your domain, right?
yeah, you can say the totally not domain actually, not totally domain
Yeah,
because we are
is
not
it?
hitting up the server because the umbrella like totals the server is unto the code GitHub, so we
Yeah,
cannot say total
no.
domain. But yeah, it can be a subdomain.
Yep,
So
got
it's
it.
little didactic space umbrella. If you
Got it.
remember, it's written over here also.
Yeah,
is
that's a
written over
thing.
there. But yeah,
So
if
so basically there are default environment variables which is there, and you can
is
also
there,
customize it. You can add custom environments variables as well.
yeah, actually, I haven't worked with any sort of custom thing because I had been
But
using.
you can do that as well.
Okay, quite possible. Like if you're saying like totally must be there.
You did definitely. So if I'm using in my dev containers, building those something with respect to
Mhm.
environment variables specifically,
Uh-huh.
so probably I might have custom environment variables.
Okay, okay,
We
okay.
can
Like
explore that. We can explore
okay,
that. We can try that out. While
yeah,
you go ahead and explain, I'll also check. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Sure, sure, sure. If, uh, I'll show one more thing. There comes a topic like of token. It's a security token. I shall be sharing it here itself at this moment. Remember this thing like GitHub token. Okay, I type it as echo token. Token. Okay,
Hmm.
that's a token. That's a security token. Uh, After this like workshop, I have to reset it out because it go all over the YouTube for the security purpose. I have to reset it out. Cool. So it's my security token. Actually, after 3 years, it will be resetted automatically. GitHub Codespaces provided you this option. After
Okay,
restarting, it will be like resetted automatically. If I
got it.
restart it, it will be resetted. So I don't have to worry. So cool, like it was just a container which contains like a set of things and which is already set into the system and we have to show it or outcast it. And I have also learned from your like Vivek, like we can also set the custom thing also. I would love to learn from you, like custom thing.
That is there.
Oh,
Uh, Custom environment variables. You can go to the settings and probably you can add environment
okay.
variables and probably use that. But anyways, let's not do that live.
Haha,
But it is there, and I'm sharing the video for people to watch it.
sure,
I'll share the
sure.
video. Anyways, they can watch it later.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, getting back to it. Cool.
Yep. So until now, what we discussed is basically as a developer, I have a code, and I have a bunch of developers. I have a bunch of branches we have, and we have different repositories where we are all working on, and we want to make sure that we have the configurations done. And you go to the GitHub repo and you say, I'm going to create a code space, and I'm going to create configurations for that specific branch, right? And for what we are going to do on that branch, and you are actually basically providing I mean obviously you're creating a customized dev container
Customer.
there.
Yes,
That's something
container.
which we are not showing here, but that's something which is already, we are assuming that it is going to be readily be created by you, since we are doing a little bit advanced discussions like
Yeah,
isolation and security and stuff
isolation and
like that.
security token. Yes, we
Yeah,
have so far.
got it. So
Yeah,
we have all these things now. So we have code, we have code space, and
code
bunch of
base.
developers can use it. I can use it. I can use it from many of my system, many of my devices, and write code from anywhere. That's the beauty. And then right now we are going to discuss what is isolation, right? So what is
Yeah,
that is something very interesting thing, because as you can see, there are three different things which is here, which
token.
is network isolation and a thing. So go ahead, Tauqeer.
Sure.
What is network
Like,
isolation is?
yeah, first of all, like thank you for briefing of all the things like we have done this far. And yeah, we are moving forward for the isolation. One of the important topic for the code spaces. Like typically in the very beginning of our like workshop, like this meet, our told like it provides you the security things, like it provides you the foundation, not on the aspect of not from the aspect of like development, but yeah, from the security things. It provide you a foundation and where you can put your all your codes. You are bounded in an environment where not an external thing is being put on, and your VM, the virtual, is working properly. So this is the thing like I do want to know and do want to impart it upon you people. Uh, what you can say about a network, like for the network, uh, when you are working on a like a different code, okay, say so like very simple example, you are like forwarding it to somewhere like we have some custom port, okay, it can be 3000, it can be 8080, it can be 8090, it can be 7070. So how we are accessing it, how we are accessing it on the internet, where like whole the system is available, but how it is providing you the foundation using this network isolation. It provides you the wall, and now you can work on it without any sort of interference. At the very same time, it's possible like I am doing, and Vivek is also doing the work. So we have both their foundation, we have both their walls, and yeah, cool. We are both working together. That is the thing. And if we talk about like the virtual, like we have different VM virtual machines. If I go into this core spaces, so it will say like two core and like 4 GB RAM, 32 GB like storage. So it's typically depicted upon like you say na like a virtual machine. So if
Hmm.
you started like doing coding, doing programming on GitHub Codespaces, you will be having the same specification to do so the same. So typically means that you have the foundation over like virtual machines. You have your own virtual machine. I am having my virtual machine. So this is how most emphasized isolation is provided by GitHub Codespaces. This is how this is things working, and which is the thing which is covering the most of all these things. What is all the factor, the environment, the GitHub environment. It is all done being under the GitHub environment. So this is how we are explaining all these concepts.
Got it. So
Got it?
basically, you have the network, and then you have uh, virtual machines, which is isolated and nobody can access it, and you're
Exactly.
working on it. And environment, obviously, there are custom environments. There are already default environments, which we discussed. So that's
Discuss.
how you're going to build it. So whenever you're building it, you're going to use all of these things as well, right?
Exactly.
And
Not
yeah,
only
go
like
ahead.
not only
Yeah,
Vivek
but
like yeah,
good,
same.
good.
Yeah, you not only like different creating any sort of different, but yeah, like it is paneling the wall. Like if you are working on a typical code and to which I am also have to work, it provide you the same thing.
Got it.
It provides you the space, provide you the isolation, and both can work together on an internet. So this is
Yeah.
how it works.
So
Isn't that like
uh,
so beautiful code spaces?
it is. I mean, I even though I just graduated, Tauqeer, but when I was working on developer environment, when I was a developer, we all had these problems, right? We were using different things, and
Hmm.
sometimes what we have done is we have literally made sure that our local laptops or local environment is actually really gone for a toss, and we had to take it to the admins and make sure that we get it cleared
Oh.
or get it fixed and all those stuff, right? Because you have so many stuff installed on your systems, and obviously you
Ah.
don't have so much power on your laptops, and today's laptops are obviously powerful, but if you take 10 years back, or 12 years back, the office provide laptops were all not as powerful as today's laptops, right? So that's
Exactly.
that's the problems, right? These were the problems, and it is solving an amazing problem, definitely. While we are talking about this, there is a question in the chat where it's more about Android emulator and live server in code space. I'm not used Android emulator
Yeah.
before. In
Like
specifically in code space, I have no idea how it will come up. Probably I don't have the answer right now. But do you have anything to any directions to provide it to Kirti
Like
Vasan?
Kirti wasn't like I'll say like I'm also not aware of the like Android emulator because like together like we have not a Android developer, not from all these things. But yeah, live server is quite possible in the code spaces because it just set up the port 8080, which I
Yeah,
already told you. So it is possible. Like live server is not a like big deal.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah,
give us some time. So probably we will go and explore about this, and then probably share it in our Twitter handles or on our LinkedIn, so that you can just take it from
cool.
there. But yeah, thanks for asking
Yeah,
that question. It's a very
of course.
interesting question, very interesting
Exactly,
problem statement as
exactly.
well. Thank you.
I have a friend named like Rehan, like in my college there, so probably I will like he's a very amazing Android developer. So I shall be asking like if you are working on a GitHub and you are probably work on GitHub Codespaces, then how you can work for the emulator thing? So quite possible he might answer. I shall be asking him. Cool.
Cool. Let's go ahead to
Yeah,
the
please.
next most important discussion, which is
Security.
security.
Yeah, like basically, I already told you, na, like a token. I actually showed you my token. We shouldn't be
Yeah.
actually. Quite
Anyways,
possible, like
it gets a reset. No worries.
it will be reset. So, but unfortunately, like someone might be working on it. No worries. I shall be setting up my code again. Okay. So actually, like it's like about the token thing. It refreshes your token and it reinitialize the token after a certain period of time. It's basically 3 hours by default. And if you restarted the thing, the code space, the thing, the here is the code space. Uh, it will re-authenticate you and create a new token. And of course, like firewall is needed. Like if you remember, Vivek, like I was talking about the like isolation part, which told you about the environment. So here the firewalls comes in when you are
Mhm.
creating the wall now. When you are creating the wall, so here comes the isolation of the firewall. Firewall aka uh, isolation, which we typically means that here. So
Got it.
it actually blocks the incoming connection. Like if you are hitting up with something like if someone wants to fish out, no one can fish out unless that person is a very amazing hacker, or it actually bounce like
So,
internal
so if you share me your link now, and if I try to access that link, the GitHub code space link which you have, the big URL which you have, if you share it with me, and if I go and hit it now, I should not be able to access it. That's what it
actually
is, right?
uh, yes, I have worked on it. I have got the link. Actually, I got the access, but I couldn't get the access to edit it.
Edit it.
That was it.
I can see
That
it. I can see it. Well,
exactly.
that is anyways basically code, nothing but code, which is obviously I
Yeah,
have access because it is a public repository which you are working on.
exactly.
But if it
Worked
is a
on it for
private repository, maybe I cannot access it.
yes, the organization effects here. Like if you have a seldom all like the private thing, of course it is private, so how one can access it. So it's the duty of GitHub to save all these things from the outer experiment
Got it.
environment. Actually,
Got it.
yeah, that's
Cool.
the like this I wanted to discuss.
So yeah, so basically, yeah, that is also there. GitHub has scenario feature, like scope-based tokens as well now, which was launched, which
Oh,
is
yeah, I remember.
obviously, yeah.
Cool.
So that's yeah, good. That's a good one. Yeah. Thanks, Ranjit, for sharing that.
Scope
Yep.
based token. Yes. Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you for forwarding. Exactly. So basically, I'll talk in the aspect of organization, like public, like privately forwarded port and publicly, and and within your organization. Like I'll talk about the organization first. Like there's an organization named XYZ, okay, and you are working on it. You actually cannot create a repository outside of it if you do want to use GitHub Codespaces, okay. So if you created a repository into their organization, they will allow you to do so because it is there. It is there for that purpose itself. Okay. So you will be creating that thing, that repository, And the time you create or hit up with the external environment, or you do want to get a touch up with the external environment, it will be forwarded into their organization itself, not outside. Okay, it will be a bounded. For the privately one, which is absolutely default. The time I will show you nothing. It will be default privately. It will be like somewhat 800 or 600, and it will be privately. You cannot access it. And publicly forwarded code, I just heard out from one of my friend, like the time he forward the code publicly, he got the access from different developers, and different developers could have like indeed lively worked on it and edited a code and created a pull request. That's the basic feature. Like
Yeah,
it, the word states it all, like publicly. So the forwarded code
yeah,
which is public. So I'm sharing
yeah.
you
There
the
are
like things.
there
Yeah.
could be two scenarios, right? There are two scenarios. One is you might be sharing it to your team members, and you want to
Hmm.
make sure that they are all going and accessing it, and we live debug it and all those things to see what's happening, and
Right.
pushing the code to the branch and making sure that it is all running and fixing the bugs and all those stuff, right? So that is something which you can do. And the other is obviously for you to use on your local systems and other things, right? Privately and publicly,
Exactly.
probably within the organization, you want to share it. Privately, you already have it with you in an open browser, and you have it in your local host. It would have forwarded to you privately. So that's
Yeah. Yeah.
the use of it. And also, you can have it publicly as well, not within just organization. If you're using code spaces on your personal project, and you just want to share the link with some people so that they will look at it and they give you feedback and other things, and you're not really bothered about you know sending it outside to people and people can watch it or use it. um, that's when you can also use it as a uh, publicly, not within organization but open to everyone to use it.
Right.
So cool, all three scenarios are there.
It-
So let's go ahead
Actually, summarizing you very well manner. I'll tell I'll cast a one story over here, if you're aware of MLSA. So we got an organization thing for the GitHub Codespaces, like for the our organization. So what I wasn't aware of all these like organization thing. So what I did, I created 4 repositories and like pushed all my like projects into it. And like organization people saying like, hey Tauqeer, in my team's chat, like, hey Tauqeer, like you have like pushed all your projects into it. Like I was like, how did you got to know? Like this project I've been working on. This, how you do this, bro? How are you aware of it? They were like, you created it into an organization. Check it out. You're just using all of it their resources at full go. I was like, hey, oh no. I deleted all the things step by step and cleared out my cache. So that moment,
that's
like we have to work properly in an organization.
that's how we all learn, right? We
Yeah.
make such mistakes and we learn everything, right?
Mhm.
That's the beauty of it. So
But
go
good
ahead.
thing happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
good thing happened over here. I got some reviews on my projects. Like what else can be done?
Good one.
Good one.
Cool. Let's go ahead and see how this works from a port
Yeah.
forwarding and where I can
It's
see
but
ports.
like see ports actually I'll mention over here. Okay. What I'll do, it's a Node.js project. I'll simply hmm, Node. Actually, I haven't installed NodeMon because I have seen earlier like NodeMon doesn't work on this. We have to debug it. So uh, for starting a Node project, we always have an index. Actually, I have named the index file as index itself to make the audience understand very clearly. Okay, whatever it has, it will contain the express.js file, the express.js starter template, and it will shoot you the basic template. Okay, the code, this one. Okay, Node. I'll type it at node index dot js. Okay, it says like I'll open it in the browser. Let it be. I'll explain something more over here. Okay, I have already selected the port 300 over here. Okay, it's written in the code. Okay, and that is
3000.
why, yeah, 3000. Actually, it's default by the Express. It is
Yeah,
consumed on the Node.js. Okay,
got it.
and on the console, what I did, I listened the same. Explain app listening on the phone. Example, the port. What port this is? This is this port. Okay, 3000. That is why it is printed the same.
Got it.
If you go over here now this tab, you will see.
Can you just zoom in
mm,
a little bit?
edit
Yeah, we
visual
can see.
mode.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, see, the port 3000 has been listed. Okay, and it has their local address. I'll show the local address more clearly, but yeah, listen to me over here. And running process is always and always your node index because I have written in the terminal what command I have shooted. I have shooted the index file, so it is what being represented over here. Of course, the visibility is private by default, as I told you. No, I already told you like the visibility is always private by default. I'll go to my port code, the hello world. A simple hello world is printed just because the time I have written this code, the time the thing will be shooted on this term, on this terminal, this code, the root thing. It says like, hey, whenever we have got the blank space, just response with the hello world thing. So this is what has been done. But yeah, I have written one more code over to explain it more further, how GitHub Codespaces is doing its job. I have written the reactor. Okay, Vivek, is it visible like reactor?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what does it say? You have the link is visible to you. Okay, I'll type it. Okay, hello Microsoft Reactor. So in this manner, you have this code, you have this link. The time I'll giving you the link, you won't be able to like publicly access it because it's absolutely private. The time I shall be making it publicly, you can get onto this web page and like see like what is happening all over here. So
So you
that's
can
the
change it up. You can change the setting here.
yeah, it has to be set in the setting itself. Like you have to go in a setting, like you have to change the place. So I shall be telling you in the very end. We have something in
Okay.
the end.
Okay. What is that
Cool.
add port? Like you can change the port. Is it like that? Add port option there?
Which port? I
There's
didn't
one
get it.
add port button is there, no?
Yeah, add port. Like the time actually. Let's check. Like I haven't tried. Let's experiment.
Let's experiment. So if you do that, oh, okay, you got one more link with different
One more.
port. Oh, okay. Just click
Let's
on
see.
that. Like, which is it 500
It works.
or 5000? Sorry.
5,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it working? Is it working? Let's see. Let's see.
It's forwarding still. Yeah. So it gives you two different stuff.
Okay. It shouldn't be worked.
Yeah, yeah. Not bad.
I have
Cool.
my favorite 3000.
Yeah.
Like working last since from 1 year. But yeah,
Now you can. So basically, if you
it
want to
shows it.
make one, oh, I don't know why it is showing it. It should
Hmm.
not
It
because
actually shouldn't. It shouldn't. Quite possible. If I stop this thing, let's see.
okay, it is user forwarded, not auto forwarded. So that is the reason. So some settings needs to be changed.
Okay.
Uh, that is the
Okay.
thing.
It's user forwarded. Very very
Is
correct.
user forwarded, not auto forwarded. Um,
Hmm.
maybe you should go back to 3000 only to make sure you are perfect. But anyways, I think the use case would be like if you have like one public, one private, and you're working on some private stuff and you're pushing it and you want to show publicly to somebody, you want to give it to somebody
Somebody
else
else.
within the organization to look into this. So you have different things, right? Because you know which one is yours and you know which one is
Ha!
somebody's using, right?
Somebody's
So that's
using.
That's the thing. I think that would be one of the use case. Like at least from differentiate from the port numbers. Uh, Maybe that's the use case. Cool.
Exactly. Let's hit up again, like if is it listening? Hello. Yeah, it's working. It's working fine over here. Exactly, it was also working. Cool.
Hmm.
Great. In fact, this is a very important thing. Like auto forwarded and visibility is private. So how is it like user thing is not working? So we should be working upon it.
Yep.
There must be some concept to be understand or understood. Like
There's a
it must
configurations we need to do.
configuration thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It will help us to share the that link to different people like this word for the editing part.
Correct.
Very cool. The secret key, I believe like I have discussed most of the like secret keys into this. It's
Yep.
basically the encrypted environment variable. So uh, I would like to like add one thing over here. Like Lispodium sealed box is used. Like GitHub
Hmm.
specially use Lispodium sealed box for encrypting. Like it's a typically type of an algorithm you say. It's typically type of an
Hmm.
algorithm. They create the secret key from there and put it in your repository, and this is how you can access it, which I have
Got it.
already shown on the YouTube live.
Yeah. So maybe I mean, if I have some passwords or other things within my configurations of code space, I want to use it via secret keys. I just don't want to put my direct passwords there, right? So that is the reason why this is there.
Like this is the like secret key is being used. Like yeah, secret key is used. Like if you have remembered like when we use it like VCS, the version control system, it also in fact asks for like passphrase. So that is
Correct.
how like you don't want to like a subsystem or anything. You just provide in the passphrase, like you are done for it. So that is how it's
Perfect.
typically you can create an analogy.
Perfect.
Simple machine type like VM is provided to you. Like so VM must be having some sort of configuration now. So yeah, so it will run with default 2 cores and 4 GB RAM. Like R must be running with the 2 cores and 4 GB
Correct.
RAM. Like so like I would like to know like uh, what's your like specification for your laptop, your system you are using. But today itself, not 10 years back.
Yeah, I think pretty much similar 32 GB uh, RAM. So those are the 64 GB RAM. I think. What else I have? I have Intel, and I think I'm using Intel one. Those are things pretty much.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Like that is how like GitHub Codespaces provided you. Uh, I'll like
But
share you like
that is in the that's in the your local system. But when you're running your application, you need specific dedicated RAMs for your code, right? So that is what CodeSpace provides you, and basically you can keep changing it. So just go edit and change it.
yeah, it might be available from here. Change it.
Change type,
Change
machine type.
yeah,
Yeah. So you have all this.
I'll go for the heaviest one.
Yeah.
32 GB. I'm updating the Codespace. Boom. Has been updated. Use. Yeah. Yes, I was about to tell you like when it is updating now, whenever there is an update, it stops your Codespace because it's being
Correct.
running on the virtual machine on a server which is like you have selected. I shall be telling you the region thing. Why it
Got
stopped.
it.
I shall be telling you.
We can talk about region here itself, like where you can
Yeah,
select regions.
like whenever we select region, like in any of the thing, like in the DevOps part, you are selecting on your Kubernetes and all that. They are different region selected. Okay. If you must be using Azure services also, you might have heard about the region, which region you are using. So typically, sitting in India, I'll say like we have been using the most prominent region. or the most sophisticated technology we are using, the Southeast Asia.
Hmm.
So it provides a configuration like what being available on that notch and what can be done to do that particular thing. Or it's quite possible like in that particular region, this is not available, or in that particular region, that thing is not available. So it might hinder the things. For the code spaces, like in every region, everything is perfectly available. So
Hmm.
not big issue. I shall be refreshing it, huh? Taking time.
It
It's
might be
taking time.
taken. It
Changing
will be
machine.
because you selected a big one.
Ah, it's
It
saying
should be
like
available on the region and all.
yeah, yeah. It might be saying like you just have to run a Node app. It's selecting 32 GB.
It won't go through that. Yeah, that might be the next level of code spaces, like AI built into it. Like it shares, okay, your app is just
You're
Node.js. Why do you want? Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
cool.
just leave it out. Just leave it out. Just leave it out.
Yeah. So basically, it's a region. So basically, you're running a virtual box. So you're selecting what is your configurations, and then you
uh,
select the regions where you want to run it. So basically, it could be a local region.
Local
In if you're running in India, you're using India. So wherever available on Azure. So you're picking those regions.
picking those.
That's it, right? Yep.
Yeah, this is all I wanted to discuss in the GitHub Codespaces region itself because it provides you the stringent security and compliance requirement in that particular region. That was a keyword I do wanted to use in that at this particular moment.
That's
That's good.
true.
That's true.
That's
This
true.
typically true. Like it like in many of the in technology, many of the things like works in accordance of the region. In that particular region, if this thing is not available, then you are not able to access it. For the code space, 99% available for everywhere.
Got it.
The auto deletion part, the most interesting part. Like it actually affects the system of like GitHub itself as well as yours itself. Because if there's no retention, people might get left for 100 of it, 200 of it without even remembering like they were having any sort of codes. So let me tell you, like for by default, it provides you the 30 days. If I might be leaving my code which I written on the Node.js for from today itself, so it will be there till 18th of February. Okay, it will be there for 18th of February. Afterwards, I'll get an email like, "Hey, Tauqeer, like we are deleting this thing for you
Got
because
it.
got it."
Yeah,
But
so that's a very interesting one because if you have not selected, if you're not pushed the code and you're writing code there directly, and you're not pushed the code and you don't do anything on that code for next 30 days, you might lose the code.
exactly, might lose the code as well as there's one specific reason like you were just consuming a space into a VM, and at the end VM is nothing, server is nothing but a dedicated place into the remote place into any sort of world. So exactly, you are consuming some space in any of the server. So you must be respecting those things. So that is why
Got
we
it.
are encouraged with retention period, and it is being reset if you just entered after some days. From that day, day one will be started. I'll tell you where you can get the setting. Ah, I've got the 16 core.
Cool.
Just to print hello world. Can you imagine? You'll go for the setting now. You'll go for the setting.
Mm-hmm.
You have code spaces dedicated into it.
Mm.
It's got available when the time we are able to get code spaces after like prepaid thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
So
these
this
are
is where you
default.
maintain.
Yeah, it's 30 days by default. I'm not the time I'm trying to change it. It's not able to change. I'm typing 31 days. It's not able to get typed actually. So it's
Default
typically
is
30
30.
days.
Maximum
Default
is
is
30.
maximum 30, and it's default also. Like if you want to type 12 days, 1 day, so it will be deleted afterwards. Yeah.
Got it. So region also you can set automatically. Like if you go to the region as well, you can choose
Yeah. It's
set
written
manually.
over
Yeah, this is how you could choose the regions as
regions.
well. Like if you set manually, you can see there is bunch of, just go and select manual in the regions.
See,
So
like
you can see bunch of, yeah, bunch of where places where you can deploy code spaces.
I
Perfect.
believe like we're working on like Azure typically the same like Southeast Asia is level for like for getting the India we have to set the Southeast Asia
Yeah,
to get the avail the service for the
got it.
subsystem like we have the nearest server for the Pune that
Got
is
it.
it. Yeah, we have to select it and I'll set it as
Automatically
automatically
choose based on the IP
according
address,
to
based on
locals
where you're
like
doing.
IP
Yeah,
address. It get my
got
IP and say that it's from this country and get provide this thing to all these users. Cool.
got it.
Yeah, this is the thing. So till here, we must be learning some good practices also. Like every technology has their good practices. So yeah, as I already said, the time I created my repository, it was limited to some user. It was private. It was available only to me itself. Okay.
Yeah.
The time it was not able to being accessed by others, it was due to the privatization. Like not the using the word privatization, the being private over here. So let it be private if I don't want to share it to anyone because I do want to work on my project on my behalf. So let it be private. And it's also always a good practice if you don't want to share, let it be private. By chance, if you got a leakage or you just shared the link, some
Mm-hmm.
intruder might be there hinder your project. Quite possible.
True.
Who knows?
True. So,
I'm not
so
at all.
just to summarize, what all we discussed here is there is code. I create my environment, put it
True.
onto the code space. I do have custom environments. I do have already built-in environments. I do have secrets. I can use secrets, basically create secrets for code spaces.
Hmm.
And I can use the port forwarding from a three different angle, which is basically trying to either you want to view it for yourself or you want to share it within the organization with somebody, and or you want to share it publicly. And there are a bunch of regions you can select, whichever region, and obviously deletion, auto deletion as well, which is the most important thing as well, because you don't want to keep paying for that, right? So
Of course,
the
of
whole
course.
thing is that is the thing. So that's
Yeah.
the interesting discussion. So there are some questions which is coming in.
Yeah, please, please,
uh,
please.
what happens under the hood if a user travels from one region to another region while code space region is set automatically? Does the system and all the files gets replicated? I can take that answer question, Tauqeer.
Absolutely. Yeah. You
So the question
absolutely.
is this. So basically, I don't think so. It will just just because you move between regions, it will replicate. It has already selected, auto detected your region when you created the code space. And if this particular code space is running and it is selected a particular region and it is already running on that region, it it won't just replicate to a new region. Probably it will still stay in that region. Maybe you will feel the latency. Uh, that's the difference, right? The region, the reason why there is a region specific to there is you should not feel the latency when you create something. You should not feel latency. That is the reason why there is a concept of region. But it won't replicate, because you are traveling from different place to different places. You have already selected a region and the code space is there. uh, you can always delete your code space. It's a VM, so you can always
Exactly.
delete it and just go to that region wherever you are, and you don't want the latency issue to be hitting you, and you are there for 3 months in some other place. So just delete that code space, recreate the code space, That's the flexibility of having Codespace. I mean, that's the beauty of having Codespace, right? Like I can go and play around with different regions also, and not just different devices, but also different regions. So that's the flexibility you have. So that's what I mean. That's one of the things. That's what happens actually. It won't
That's
replicate
what
for
happened
sure.
here.
It will be there available for you. That's the thing.
Absolutely, Vivek. Yeah, like typically it won't replicate because it will be a disadvantage to any sort of technology or like we say code spaces. Because if we get replicated, like it will be a headache to a developer.
Manage
Like
it.
it's
Man,
replicated. Then
yeah,
how
it's a
do we manage?
manageability problem. Yeah,
Exactly.
true. Thank you,
Uh,
Tarun, for the comments as well. Thank you.
Actually,
Is
thanking
there any
Vivek for
question? Is there any questions from the audience? I mean, we have shared whatever we wanted to share in our Azure Happy Hour. We wanted to learn code spaces from a production perspective. What are the things you should be doing? Of course, we haven't gone to the depth of writing a dev container and how do you configure it and all those stuff, because we do believe there are a lot of sessions already been done on those
sure.
part. So this is more of trying and understanding how you would use typically when you're building something on CodeSpace, like the secret using secrets in an environment way, using environment variables. How do you use this in a environment variables? Knowledge about regions, understanding about port forwarding, and all those stuff, right? And if you want to get started, there is a link in the chat. I know there is specific link, so you can basically go and take a look at that. It's an amazing video which explains how to get started with code spaces and how to develop container and all those things. So you can go through that. But I would love to share one amazing link uh, if people are interested in understanding depth of this, right? Why code spaces and how exactly this has changed the
Hmm.
game, right? So here is a blog from GitHub. Uh, Maybe Tauqeer, if you want to open this link, which I shared, which is there in your chat as well, I believe. In the
Let me like recognize it and I shall be sharing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you just zoom in?
Wait.
Yeah, go on the top. Go on the top. This is
Yeah.
well written um, by the GitHub team itself. If you go full top, like just just go full, you're in between. So just go at the top. So they have explained it. This has been written how they move to code spaces and how exactly the time has been shifted. And you can see, they used to have a lot of issues in this. They have explained how they are used to face a lot of issues, what kind of issues, and how bootstraps for scripts were running, how many hours it used to take running these bootstrap scripts and all those things, and then how they have reduced from 45 minutes to 5 minutes of
Exactly.
bringing up a new service, and now they are looking at 10 seconds. um, that is the beauty
10
of it.
seconds.
By yeah, doing those shadowing, shallow, something, what is called shallow, right? They have mentioned about it, you can read about it. But anyways, they are only going to pick up those changes which has happened in the code, and then
Hmm.
put it in the code space so that you can use it. So those are things which is there. Just go through this amazing blog if you want to go in depth and learn
Absolutely.
in depth of code spaces. So there is a question actually, are code space system running on containers? Yeah, I mean, typically it would. I mean, if I have to run such a thing, probably I would run it in a container. Um,
Hmm.
Otherwise, I can't keep spinning up virtual machines for you and doing stuff. Probably I'll put everything as part of the container and use it as part of the container. I'm going to create container scripts, automatic container scripts, and run it as part of the containers for sure. But I don't know. It's a it's at the back end. how would have they have designed it, I have no idea. But if I would have designed it, probably I would have designed it as a part of the containers, Ranjit.
Exactly. We would have heard the answer as yes. Yes,
True.
exactly. Talking about that block, is written amazingly. Most of the business alert thing and the production thing has been listed out over here. If someone read it, typically it's very very amazing.
Yep. Yep. Cool. I think we are almost done with our show, and if there are any questions, do
Yeah,
reach
please let
out to me or Tauqeer if you have any specific questions. Whatever we discussed here, we will
yeah.
try to answer these questions. Yes, we have one questions to answer, which is like Android stuff, which is interesting one.
Android.
We'll take that up.
Okay.
And and I would like to thank Tauqeer for coming up here and driving this discussion. It was interesting because there was a lot of things to learn for me, and learn. I mean, obviously, community would have learned a lot of things as well. So thank you for coming up here and sharing your insights on this. And I know you have been working on it. And great, it's great to have you here. And hopefully, we'll have you back, right? And that's the
Sure,
hope.
sure,
Like,
sure.
thank
Absolutely,
you.
absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being here, and thank you
And
Parth
thank
for
you.
hosting us. Yeah,
I'll say
thanks.
thank you to Path and thank you to the whole Microsoft Reactor team for letting me be here and imparting all this superb knowledge.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you all.